This video is sponsored by Play now. How we doing? How we doing? One Piece 995. Right? I keep losing track. It's funny. I was talking to somebody today, and they know I do YouTube and stuff, and they're like, I'm like, yo, do you have a chapter coming up? I'm like, no, it's on break. They're like, yo, it's always on break. What's going on? I'm like, wait, hey, relax. All right? 995 is not out, so as usual, when we have a break on the day that we should have the break, I normally release a prediction video. The last break was a pretty substantial break when the COVID thing, well, I'm not saying COVID, when Oda took that break because he fell ill. I didn't do a prediction just because, you know, everything that was going on was just a weird time. But we're back and we're going to talk about what we expect for chapter One Piece, Jesus Christ, what we expect for One Piece chapter 995. Before that though, I have something I want to address. People were really coming at me because I said Jinbei was fat in the last video. I was talking about PHAT. All right, Jinbei just being just fat, and I wasn't. I was definitely talking about FAT. But I've come to terms with the fact that Jinbei is just big boned. He just got big fish bones. All right, so my bad. I sincerely apologize. So One Piece chapter 994 left us on a bit of a, not a cliffhanger, but a great moment with Yamato, where Yamato at this point, she has great Straw Hat vibes. And even my last video I said, well, in the title I said Yamato does not deserve to be a Straw Hat, ? A lot of people don't really understand how question marks work because they just flooded to the like button and disliked it. And I was like, I'm asking the questions based off of I was reading the room and the temperature based off of how many people were saying that Yamato, even after what happened in chapter 994, does not deserve to be a Straw Hat, which I completely disagree with. And I laid out my reasons, including Jinbei being, you know, big boned in my last video if you want to go check that out as well. But I think she deserves to be a Straw Hat. I think she's going to be a Straw Hat. I think the trajectory is there for her, so I think that's inevitable. But that's where the chapter left off. But where do we go from here? And that goes back to what happened in 994. I mean, just base it off of that and where it could possibly go, right? So in 994, I think the person who stole the show, other than Yamato, was Queen. And Queen has somehow managed to place everyone in a Dressrosa scenario. Hold on, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like the countdown with the birdcage. However, right now they have an hour to capture a Poo. Oda sometimes gives you the time so that you can somehow predict, okay, once this is over, that's when other things are going to happen. Like even in Whole Cake Island, you're like, okay, they plan to meet at this point, so more than likely everything is going to pretty much converge at the singular point at that time. And that's pretty much what happened in Whole Cake Island. With Luffy finished fighting Katakuri, I mean, everything pretty much wrapped up and they all met up at that point, even though there was a lot more to go in regards to chasing Big Mom and the baking the cake, whatever. But it's always an indicator. So I think the time that Oda gave us here, that hour to capture a Poo, is an indicator, because I think they may take the entire hour, and then once they capture a Poo, things may start to just trickle down based on everything that's going on around them. Something that I also noticed in regards to this time crunch that Queen has provided is the people that's surrounding that area. We could have some great battles. First off, it was cool that Chopper told Zoro, yo, Zoro, capture a Poo, and then Zoro's like, got it. And I'm like, yo, a Poo, right now, Zoro is on your ass, so you're not getting out of this unscathed at all. But I also noticed it wasn't only Zoro was on his ass, Hote was on his ass. And Hote is somebody, well, the leader of the Shisengumi, right? I believe that's what you say, the Shisengumi, right? That's what the military force that was backing Orochi. He's also there, and he's a swordsman. Oda normally highlights these characters, give them a little moment, or just put them by themselves. We're like, okay, that person, he has a really cool design, he has a sword, he could be important. And based on what we've seen so far with Hote, his dialogue and the moments that he's had, he should be significant in the arc. Right now, him and Zoro are going after a Poo. Could Hote and Zoro have a spar or fight each other? Possibly. But again, I think the best way for everyone to get out of this unscathed, or at least okay, is for them to work together to capture a Poo. But for a Poo, can you really run away from all these individuals, these fairly powerful individuals, for an hour? Because that's a pretty long time. So again, Queen, being the mastermind that he is, has put him in a scenario or situation in which they have to be clever to overcome. Something I was also thinking about. We have not seen Hiyori in a long time. The last we heard of Hiyori was... Actually, where the fuck is Hiyori? Oh, The last we saw of Hiyori was her saying she didn't want to meet with everyone because I guess being sentimental before a battle is not good, or rather it's forbidden. So Hiyori did not want to meet with the others, even though they were really excited to meet her. They were saying, man, she's probably grown up by now. She must be like a completely different person. For some of them, they haven't seen her in a little bit, but for some, they haven't seen her in decades. So they were really excited to see her again, but she didn't want to meet them. They asked Kawamatsu, where is she? And he said she's in a safe place. So I'm going to assume she's with Gyukimaru, right? In Rinzo.
Nani?
Where the fuck is Rinzo? Who is Rinzo?
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Who is Rinzo, bro? Oh my god. I don't even know. Rinzo? Where did that name come from? Is Rinzo an actual thing? Let me Google Rinzo and see what comes up. Rinzo is a Japanese explorer of the late Edo period. He is best known for his exploration of Karafuto, which is now known as Sakhalin. He mapped areas of Northeast Asia which weren't known yet. Mamiya Rinzo. Random trivia of the day. Rinzo. Holy shit. Yeah. Sorry. Rinzo. I was thinking of Ringo, right? But pretty much, I'm thinking Hiyori is with Yukimaru, or Onimaru, whatever you want to say. Onimaru was a companion of Shimotsuki Ushikaka.
You stupid.
God, I'm sorry. Shimotsuki Ushimaru. So he was a companion of Shimotsuki Ushimaru. So I'm thinking that's who Hiyori's with. Long story short, that's who Hiyori is probably with. I was thinking they could show up at some point, but they're not in Wano. They're in Onigashima. And, you know, you have to get on a boat and all that stuff to get there. I mean, it's not crazy that they could find a boat and cross the seas to get there. But I'm thinking this could be an indication that the fight does go back to the capital, because I think the people must see Kaido fall. And again, if Luffy's fighting Kaido, Luffy can actually fly. So them going from Onigashima, fighting over everyone, and then ending up in the capital is not a crazy thing at all. And people say, well, if Law and Kid are involved, how could they possibly be in a flying battle? I mean, Kid looks like he could levitate a little bit. I mean, Law, I don't think he's going to be as significant in this battle as Kid and Luffy, so I don't think that's detrimental. However, at some point, Hiyori and Onimaru, they must show up. I mean, I think it makes too much sense. Is Hiyori just going to hide the entire time until the battle is over? I mean, I don't know. That just doesn't sit right with me. So I would like to see Hiyori at some point really soon. So currently, based on where everyone is, Luffy is with Sanji and Jinbei. Zoro is with Chopper, and they're trying to get the antibodies from Apu. Where do we go from here? Well, I think every chapter, Luffy may ascend and get closer to Kaido. And at 1000, Oda may make it so that Luffy, at that point, finally encounters Kaido. But I think we see more of the same. Luffy running through fodder, maybe encountering some different gifters and stuff, but no one significant. What I think may happen, though, is that as they go further, they'll encounter significant people, but obviously he has Jinbei and Sanji with them, so Sanji will take a person, then Jinbei will take a person. It's almost like when Luffy and Zoro, they're going after Doflamingo, right? We were like, okay, Zoro and Luffy are together. That's going to be fire. That's going to be great. Here comes Pika. Then Zoro stays back to fight Pika. Luffy continues. I think it's going to be the same thing here. Yeah, so it's very reminiscent of Dressrosa, the countdown, Luffy's with some subordinates, and they're going after the big boss, so more than likely, the same thing is going to happen. At some point, they'll encounter someone, and Sanji will have to stay back, and then Jinbei will have to stay back. Who could they encounter? Well, at this point, I'm not sure who fights Queen. And the 1v1s is becoming less and less apparent, but again, we have a lot more Wano left, so that may be a bit premature for me to say. I'm thinking this. Right now, we haven't seen Jack in a while, and we haven't seen King in a while. What about King showing up to stop Luffy? They get closer, King shows up. Sanji and Jinbei stay back to fight King. Why is that important? Well, first off, Sanji is perfect for aerial battles. King can fly, and he obviously has fire attributes. Jinbei is a fishman. You know, he can control the water particles in the air, all that. That combination would actually be perfect for King. Based on, you know, where you scale those characters, it would be a good matchup, I think, as well. And that combination would be very unexpected, because people are saying Jinbei is replacing Sanji in a monster trio, all that. Enough. Like, let's stop that. But I think it'd be a really cool thing to see these two individuals go up against the commander. People are saying, well, no, Luffy and his subordinates, specifically his top three, Sanji, Zoro, and Jinbei, deserve 1v1s. I don't know about Jinbei. I think Jinbei has already proven his worth, right? He doesn't need a 1v1 fight to validate him. I think the unproven individuals, for the most part, are Zoro and Sanji. And unproven is a bit of a strong word, because we know what Zoro and Sanji are capable of. We just haven't seen a lot of it post time skip. So I think that's what happens going forward in these upcoming chapters. And also in this chapter, I think is the end of the Scabbards. I think when we go back to what's going on with Kaido, all the Scabbards will be knocked out. Again, they fought valiantly, but at this point, I think it's pretty much over, right? Kaido's transformed. He's back in his regular form. I think next chapter they show that the Scabbards are done. The only thing though, why I'm apprehensive about that prediction is a countdown. And I'm like, is Oda going to have them hold out for that hour until Luffy approaches Kaido? Because I think it would be perfect if Kinemon or someone is the last person to fall, then Luffy approaches at the last minute, maybe stops them from dying. It'll be a bit more poetic in that way. Oda may go that route, but again, time could skip forward. When we first got to Wano, based on how people were traveling and where people were, time had been passing. It wasn't as obvious saying, well, 1 hour later, 2 hours later, but it was obvious that things were happening. So the same thing could happen here. Something I'm really worried about though is Kid and Law. And normally when the chapters pile up, Oda just doesn't cover a character. Then we see a chapter with just focus on these characters we haven't seen in a long time. So it really wouldn't be that surprising if chapter 995 focused solely on Kid and Law and what they're doing, because I think they deserve some focus before the final battle. Like, absolutely. But then there's also Big Mom. We could also see what she's doing. And we cannot forget Usopp and Nami versus Page 1 and Ulti. That is something that we haven't seen. We saw Ulti for a little bit, but I expect a full-on fight between Ulti and Nami and then Page 1 and Usopp. Not the expected matchup at all based on just their powers and what they do. They're full-fledged Zoan users, but I mean, for the most part, they're the Beast Pirates, right? You're gonna come against Zoan users, right? That sounded weird. But anyway, that's something that we may touch on as well. I think Usopp and Nami is some of the more creative fighters in the Straw Hats, in which they're pretty much unexpected and they're really good support characters. So I want to know how they hold up against two physical monsters. That would be exciting to actually watch. So yeah, guys, a lot could transpire, but I'm really excited for chapter 995. Give me your thoughts. What do you think is most likely to happen? Or just give me your predictions in general. That'd be great. But of course, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thanks to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. But yeah, like, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.